Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
Yeah. If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Yeah. Welcome to Massenomics, the world's strongest podcast. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Massenomics. Make sure you go visit Massenomics.com. There you'll find the rest of our powerful content. While you're there, check out our store and buy yourself some of that sweet Massenomics gear.
Welcome, Massenomics fans, to episode 162 of the Massenomics podcast, the world's strongest podcast, the lifting podcast about nothing. Tommy and Tanner are here again today. Tommy, what's happening?
Oh, just ready for another hour of audio magic.
Yeah, well, life's a game, and we're just a couple of players. Play on, players.
That's what I live by right there. Good stuff.
Probably the biggest thing to hit Massenomics since the lift shirt or having a podcast. Maybe just the biggest thing that's happened to Massenomics ever happened just here today. The man that's been quoted, and I quote, I'm going to read the quote of exactly.
Yeah, you don't want to change people's words.
No,
they'll get on us for that. So.
I want to say exactly as he said.
Yeah.
The man that was quoted saying, "So you add $14 for a logo? LOL. Nah, I'm good with the plain ones." Mr. Daniel at 03_OG on Instagram has purchased a pair of lift shorts today.
Now, if that's not full circle, I don't know what is.
That is full circle. What do you think about that?
It just shows like there's a little something more. We're more than meets the surface on these things, There's like, it's like an onion, you peel back these layers and we got something down there. Once you get through all of it, and this guy discovered it. It took him a while to get through the layers, but...
So question is, was this just a year-long marketing ploy of us where we paid this guy to...
Like, how many free pairs of lift shorts did we give this guy?
We planted him in there.
He was a double agent.
He was a mole to go in there and troll us on the price of our lift shorts just to make up this year-long elaborate...
Are we smart enough to do that? Maybe. Did we do it? I can't say that either.
Maybe we did.
but it is really, really your Instagram post, Tanner, summed it up perfectly. Yeah. It was a photo. If you guys haven't seen this, just hop on the Instagram. But it was a photo screenshot of his caption, and then a bar that says 44 weeks later, and it is the actual order receipt that shows. And I like that the comment says 44 weeks ago, too, just to really drive that point home that, yes, 44 weeks ago, we were getting shit about this.
Yeah, it took us less than a year to turn one of our largest enemies into a supporter,
an adversary.
Yeah,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
It is, and he ordered a pair of lift shorts and the huge life shirt, and
he was even okay with us spreading this message.
Yeah, I talked to him about it before, and I said this really is a big occasion. How do you feel about us sharing this around? He said, "Sounds great. Let's do it. It's a big deal."
Which it kind of is. It kind of is.
Which for everyone else, it's like the first they've seen of it, and it is a big deal. But for us, he had messaged us a little while back and kind of apologized and said, "Yeah,
I think he probably said, I'm gonna get a pair someday."
Yeah, it was probably an overreaction on my part. I was having a bad day, and he said, "I appreciate all the stuff that you guys do for powerlifting and strongman and everything." And I think at the time that he made the comment, he probably didn't know that we had a podcast and maybe a little bit of following and stuff like that. So it was probably easier for him to throw some hate out at it. And then later on, he's like, "Oh, well, these guys might not be so bad."
Like they know at least a little bit about something. Not sure what it is, but it might be something about something.
So that was pretty cool. A pretty cool thing to see.
Yeah.
But it's like, who do we get to buy him next? If this guy's buying him, like,
who's the next enemy of the state now?
Yeah, he was the white whale that we had to.
I'm not aware of anyone else that's really outside of people just leaving dumb Instagram comments, I haven't seen a lot of people just flaming on the merch lately.
No, a lot of people, have hypothesized that it took them 44 weeks to save up enough to be able to purchase
and
the shorts.
That's probably a accurate guess, dude.
Yeah. Thank you to him though. Like, had he not done that, we wouldn't
just be a regular ass pair of shorts.
How many less do you think had he not ever done that? Do you think we would have sold half as many shorts as we have at this point?
No, and they would have been talked about 1/10 as much. Like literally 1/10 as much.
Yeah, we would have sold so many fewer. We wouldn't have came out with we got them sitting on the table right here. I bet we probably would have never came out with the deadlifter shorts.
I don't think so.
And we wouldn't have sold the amount of deadlifter shorts that we have without
just
this
to
thing
ride
the
off of the wave of the lift shorts. I know. Yeah, it's almost hard to wrap your head around how it all worked out. But.
Yeah. And speaking of the lift shorts, we do have a restock coming of both the deadlifter shorts and the lift shorts. The deadlifter shorts, we basically sold out of all of them, just about all sizes right away. So maybe by the time you're hearing this, we've got both back in stock in all sizes.
But if not, very soon.
Yes. So be on the lookout. Deadlifter shorts specifically, because we sold out of a majority of the sizes so quick, you probably got left hanging on that. Mm-hmm. But we just wanted to artificially spike demand.
I mean, like any great capitalist does, you drive up demand by artificially reducing supply.
Yes. We did decide to run a special, though, because to honor 030G by him, that we're offering the lift shorts at a special full price. Mm-hmm. Full price offering.
Well, no one wants to feel like they got ripped off and paid a discount amount for them.
Someone did ask about a discount one discount that I finally was okay with. They wondered if they bought two, if they could get them for the price of two.
Said,
I said, all right, we'll bend on that.
A 2 for fine.
2 for 2.
BOGO, buy one, get one.
Get one at the same price.
Yeah, you just didn't let us finish the rest of that promotion. I like that. We should run that promotion sometime. Buy one, get one.
Yeah.
Buy one at full price, get one at full price.
I like that.
This Black Friday.
Yeah. Speaking of like us giving stuff away and all that, we are, let's see, hopefully by about the time you're hearing this podcast come out, also we'll be starting another chance to win a Pioneer belt through Massenomics. This is going to be a part of our tribute meet raffle.
Our way of trying to give back a little bit.
Yep. So it's going to be set up we haven't actually done this yet, but we're going to do it soon. It'll be set up on our website where you can buy the raffle ticket. They're going to be $10 a piece, and the raffle puts you in the entry to be able to win, I believe, a fully customizable Pioneer belt that Matt over at Pioneer will get made for you, as well as a 6-pack of Massenomics shirts, as well as a Massenomics lift flag and sticker packs.
Maybe so there might even be a personalized note in there somewhere, too.
I would say there will be a personalized note in there.
And now they say you can't buy happiness, but have you ever won a 6-pack of Massenomics?
That's right. So just kind of doing a little rough estimate in my head and knowing what belts cost, it's probably like a $350 plus value of winning.
Yeah.
And unlike our last belt giveaway, which was entries, all you had to do to enter was comment on the post, tag people in the post. Here you do actually have to pay the $10 because we're giving 100% of that to the tribute meet as what would go in the lifter's prize pool. So
this one you can say if you didn't win, you can at least feel good knowing that you contributed to the prize pool at the tribute meet.
More than likely, your odds for winning will be a lot better. If you purchase a ticket, you probably have a real chance.
I don't think like 5,000 people are going to pay $10, but if they did, that'd be amazing. I mean, we just did we just took care of a lot of Matt's fundraising for it.
Yes.
So yeah, if you want to do that, please.
Yeah, we wouldn't be sad at 5,000, but just my best guess is it's not going to be that high. So you probably will have, for $10, you probably have a pretty legitimate shot at winning that belt and the shirts and all that. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, who can complain about that?
Oh, we're giving the farm away pretty much here lately.
I mean, hopefully we'll be a business in a month even.
And then to piggyback off that, we are going to have another thing we put out there. That's going to help determine how much more money we donate to the tribute meet, because we're going to donate 100% of those raffle proceeds, but then we're going to run, it's not a contest, it's not going to cost It's not going to cost you guys or anyone anything, but you will be able to be influencing how much we give away.
Yeah, there's a social media factor where depending on the response we get, it will increase the amount we give. So
yeah,
you guys will have a stake in that.
Well, should we say what we're going to do? We kind of know generally what we're going to do.
We have the general idea.
And I think it's kind of fun, so we'll start to get it out now. We have done upwards at this point. We've done, I believe, over 90 Massenomics versus posts. I think as of today, we've put out about 90 Massenomics versus posts, which is a lot.
That is a lot.
If you scroll through them,
when you consider what's each one have 4 lines in it, that's, I don't know, 9 times 4. What's that, like 500 and something?
Yeah, it's almost 1,000. But it won't be long here. Later this year, we will hit number 100. Probably got to do something special for the 100th Massenomics.
It'll be the number 100.
Yeah, versus
a 100-pound plate.
But it won't just be the number 100. It'll be that red.
The red 100.
Yeah, the emoji 100. Yeah. But so what we're gonna do is for every Massenomics versus that will get shared by the lifter featured in the verses. Within a set period of time, we're gonna say like within, we're gonna run the promotion like over Monday and Tuesday. So it's like over a 48-hour period or 24-hour period or some defined period of time. Every lifter that's featured in the verses that shares it on their Instagram timeline in that period of time, we're gonna donate $10 to the tribute meet. Mm-hmm. So if all 90 of the people would do it, we would donate $900.
And really all I got to do is go in, repost, boom, done.
Yes. But where we have not made a versus for every one of you that's listening out there, unfortunately. Probably some of you out there that are listening do have a versus made about you. But where you can all come into play is harass the people. We'll put out the list of all 90 people that have a versus of themselves,
along with the directions on how this will work.
Right. Because what they'll need to do is post it and tag us in the post, so that way we recognize that it's out there and know that they've done it. But where you guys can help is by maybe messaging those. If we get 100 people to message them like, "Hey, you need to post this," versus they're gonna, this will help contribute to the
Plus,
donation.
you'll probably get a lot more likes than your normal posts.
That's right. But so we could stand to have to give away $900 if everyone did it, and by then we'll have a few more verses out there, even maybe 1 or 2 more. So
it could be $100,
right.
100 of them somehow.
Right. But we're kind of excited about that. I think it could be a kind of a fun thing.
I think it's a fun way, and it's something cool and different.
Yeah,
too, so.
And I'm excited to see how many we can get to do it.
Yeah, see how involved people will actually be with it.
Yeah. There'll be some that would probably be pie in the sky to get them to repost
think so,
it.
Yeah, but you never know if everyone's doing it.
Well,
sometimes.
if say Hafthor Bjornsson, he has one.
It'd be like, why would he ever do it?
He probably isn't going to, but he probably follows Steffi and Larry Wheels and
I don't know,
throw in like 5 other people that we've made him for. If
Kirill,
right,
Kaylor Willow, maybe.
Yep.
Just
if we get all of those people to share theirs, and then he sees it and he's like, "Oh, everyone's they're commenting that I have one of those. Maybe it'll influence him to post it."
Yep, there's a chance.
Yeah,
you never know.
It's very possible.
And then we can really raise the price of the lift shorts with eyes like that on it.
If we do have to give away $1,000,
oh man,
we are gonna have to do something to recoup that.
Yeah, we're gonna need that money back somehow. Can't just give it away.
No, we haven't gone through this whole lift short fiasco just to give all the money away.
Finally, we can give it back.
Yep.
Nope, not this time. All right, Tanner. This week, a big movie dropped. And that movie is the long-awaited. And when I say long, I cannot understate that word enough. The long-awaited full-length documentary, Westside VS the World.
Yes.
And we made a little post about it. We were lucky enough to get an advanced copy of it, so we could be on the ball.
A screener, as those in the
industry.
biz.
I mean, when you know people, you get screeners, which we're at that level now.
Yes.
So we got a screener ahead of time. We got to watch it, study it, make notes, do some critical analysis. And now we're bringing that to you guys.
I did also ask Michael Fahey,
and the director. I mean, we had
writer, director, and producer Michael Fahey. I asked him a few follow-up questions after watching.
So we got
the
inside scoop, even hard-hitting journalism right here.
We did it.
So, in case
when did you watch it? Just a couple days ago?
Yeah, I watched it 2 days ago.
Yeah,
3
I
days
watched
ago.
a couple days ago.
So yeah, in case you just don't know, Westside VS the World is a documentary about Westside. Started filming 5-6 years ago. I don't even know. It seems like ancient, but supposed to release about 2 years ago. Ran into some legal troubles. We've covered that on the podcast before.
He had a partner that
basically, his
some
partner
really shady stuff,
stole all the Kickstarter money and was using it to sell and traffic drugs.
Yeah.
And then by the time Michael Fahey found out, the bank account was basically drained out. That delayed the movie another year. But I think he did some screening, some other things to kind of raise some capital to get this thing out and about. And it is a documentary about Westside. And that is what it is. It's not. They're not talking about their training secrets or, how amazing we all are and how just happy, how fun it was training at Westside. No, it's not about that. It's this is Westside and this is war. It's basically how I would sum it up.
Yeah, it's about the gym and the people there. It's a documentary about those people and those relationships of the people there.
And you get I'm not the world's closest follower of Westside or even Louis, so I learned a decent amount about him that I didn't know before.
Yeah.
I didn't know much about his early life at all, and so they do. They kind of talk about, he was growing up. He always getting in trouble fighting, and then he got drafted, went to the war, came back, started lifting, and then that's kind of where this whole thing started to evolve. That's how he got into the lifting part of it, and just kind of always stayed in the Columbus, Ohio area, never really moved away from there, and just eventually started to kind of get some traction, and people just started showing up. And that's kind of where, it brings you almost to, in a really quick version, that is sort of the West Side story of how it happened.
Right, and they moved a few different gym locations over the years. They talked about that. I thought it was interesting at one point in time. There was a commercial section of the gym.
I didn't know that either. And then I was thinking,
I knew
God, have I always missed that? Does Westside still have a commercial side?
But then it gets later on.
But then, and then it made sense that, I'm not completely oblivious to the world here.
I thought it was interesting. I didn't know much about Matt Dimmel. I had maybe heard his name before.
Yeah,
but
that one really shocked me, too.
He seemed like a pretty bad dude, someone you wouldn't want to cross in a dark alley. Thought the info about him was pretty interesting.
And I'm not sure I probably have ran across his name, but his name has never registered with me before.
Right.
So it was really interesting to hear his story. Even Chuck Vogelpool, I know he's the West Side guy with the flame hat.
Right.
Can squat a ton. And outside of that, I didn't really know much about him. So
and they did not I assume Chuck declined to be interviewed.
Yeah, that's
apparently.
what I assume too, because he does not comment in there at all. It's just.
It is interesting all the people they did get to interview though. For a lot of whether you're a lot of people you don't necessarily directly place right next to Westside anymore. Mark Bell is interviewed quite a bit.
Ed Cohn's in there.
Ed Cohn, Matt Wenning,
Brandon Lilly makes a little. And then some of the more recent, West Side guys are obviously involved there.
Right. It was interesting to me. It's almost like a story of all the people that Louis Simmons has pissed off and no longer gets along with him in life.
If
that
we're
is
talking
no
about,
longer on speaking terms
with.
If
we're gonna go into critical analysis of what this thing is and your takeaways, I think leading up to it, there were some people that had the idea that once this movie comes out, everyone's gonna want to do multi-ply lifting. Yeah.
So so that's question number one to me. A lot of people said that. People commented that on our Instagram post. Do you feel like that's a takeaway from it, that it's gonna?
No, and I don't think they even framed the narrative of the movie in any way to even be multiply is where the real lifting is. They don't even try to make an argument for that. They're just this is one gym and this is how they did it. And on top of that, they don't even really show, there's not a ton of training footage they're showing. You probably see more competition footage than training footage even.
Yeah.
There was hardly any training footage you actually
saw.
Nothing,
no, not really.
You could go on YouTube right now and in the seconds, you Google a couple minutes of training footage and probably see more than there's in that entire video. So I just did not get any takeaway that this is trying to sell you on multiply lifting.
Yeah.
That was not a part for me at all.
No, and they even make
Well,
it's not Louis Simmons himself that says it, but
even later on, like Mark Bell literally goes on to say, "Oh, those guys are cowards." He's like, "Multiply lifting isn't a thing anymore, and they won't come over to raw powerlifting."
Right.
And like Mark Bell, he's at a position where he can say whatever he wants and just not care about it. But
Right.
That was his opinion, and I think some of the other guys kind of they don't go as far to like voice it that obviously, but you can kind of tell like they're kind of getting at like. Multipliers, not a lot of people doing it. Depth calls can be questionable.
Yep.
Lockout calls can be questionable. Like you can tell that's kind of the general consensus on multiply anyway. So that's not anything new there.
No, it's not come to light because of the movie or
Oh,
anything like
wow,
that.
yeah, I never realized that sometimes the squats
did
are
look
high.
maybe a little high.
Wait a minute. This whole thing does that.
They talk about it at the end too. They do have like Burley Hawk is the main one, the only one that I know the name of, that they have a few raw lifters there out of the gym now, and I know Burley is training there now. Like he wasn't for a while, I don't think, but he is back training there like as we speak. But I still think they're in the far majority, and people really don't know who they are for the most part. Any of those raw guys,
I don't think so. Well, and then the other big one is they're not like pro recording or
right.
When I say pro, I'm not talking quality. I'm like in favor of recording.
Yeah.
Like
Louis talks about how
it literally says like hates phones and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And so, yeah, if people don't know you exist, it's hard to be excited about it. Or if people
Right.
can't see what's going on, especially in this world and like the way people interact with the sport now.
Yeah.
If they can't see like what training looks like, people just aren't going to be that
Well,
interested.
it's obvious they don't care about that. It's not what they want. Dave Hoff, it's pretty obvious he doesn't give a crap about his
he doesn't care
Instagram
at
or
all,
anything
yeah.
like that. So that's fine because it's not what he cares about. But if they really wanted it to have a chance at being a thing again, that would be a requirement to significantly grow the interest in it. I think that would that would be a requirement.
One of the things I thought was really interesting and I liked a lot is seeing like the WPO days.
Yeah.
And I've heard people talk about things like that, like, oh yeah, this was back in the WPO days. And I
Yeah.
never completely wrapped my head around like what that means.
Yep.
And just to see the competitions they had and
Yeah.
they kind of like had an actual stage built up.
Yeah.
And there was like TV.
They had sponsors like Budweiser was a sponsor.
There was actual sponsors. Like I believe it was being broadcast even.
Yeah, I think it was.
So it was pretty cool.
ESPN.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like this was a thing that people actually watched.
Yep.
And I like that aspect of it because that kind of doesn't exist now. Outside of a live stream, that doesn't exist now.
Right.
So to know that was at one point a thing, that was cool. And like there was big lifts going on there.
Yeah.
That was like you could see that's when the world records were going down.
Yep.
And the WPO is it just this past year just kind of started making a comeback again?
Yeah, that's where Dave Hoff lifted at that WPO whatever meet, like the big one, I guess, that they had. But I don't know, can it ever be like what it was there?
I just think those were the glory days.
Yeah.
I just have a really hard time seeing how it's ever going to come to that.
Yeah.
For
I agree.
sure, ESPN is not ever getting on board.
Yeah, Michael Fahey did make a good point that he didn't necessarily think that it's like going to cause this mass exodus of raw lifters converting to equipped, but he recognized the fact equipped lifting is a very small segment of the total powerlifting group as it is now, and if all of powerlifting continues to grow, stands to reason that multiply lifting could grow.
Yes, if
could grow bigger.
Lifting in general grows
Right.
10%.
Right.
Well, even if multiply lifting grows 2%, it's still growing.
Right. Yes. Yes. But I really don't see people. No one's gonna watch it and say, "Screw raw." That's the. People. There'll always be people that switch around back and forth and everything like that. But I just don't see this as the major influence to cause that kind of change.
Yeah, I think you're right. Watching it now, you get done with it, and you're definitely going to have some opinions on things. And I think it's safe to say that if you're training at Westside, you're wired different than everyone else in the world.
Yes.
Like you don't just be like, I'm going to try this at
kinda lift
Westside
today,
Like that. That's not how it's ever going to work. So when you're just wired that different, and then in that environment, you're going to take things to the extreme, and so you're not like everyone else. And I think the only people that can say that Well, yeah, I think the only people that really get it are the people that are at Westside.
Yeah,
because
I think so.
That's
I think that's true,
the only
too.
you don't really like. Yeah, I get it, and that's the lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then not go like
Right.
that. It just doesn't like. Yeah, that's who I am, but also I'm not like that's not how it works. And so looking at it, I think it's safe to say that is it a 95% chance that if you join Westside, your ways out are you die, Louis kicks you out, or you get in a massive fight and you leave.
Yeah.
Like
That's
that's
kinda
I
it,
think
yeah.
95% of people like
Yeah.
no one's like
I
I
was
did
a
it
good
all.
run, and
I did it
just-
all. I'm
yeah.
done. And Louis like, yeah, you were great. Yep, get it. Like, I don't think that's
No.
ever happened.
No.
Like, maybe it has, but in the documentary, I got the impression that no one leaves on good terms.
No, it pretty much seems like you leave on the terms where you and Louis are never speaking to each
yeah,
other
you
again.
get in of either a physical altercation or now at this point that he's older, probably more of a verbal altercation.
Yeah.
But definitely back in the day, you got in fist fights, and then someone was pissed at someone else, and you left.
Yeah, it does make it sound like.
Or
know,
you died. The number of people that have died there.
Right.
It's just like, oh, yeah, so-and-so died, had a
Yeah.
heart attack, cancer, heart attack.
Yeah.
Damn, like,
And that's the only way you get on the wall on Westside is to
yeah,
die.
it is.
We don't have that rule at Massenomics Gym
Luckily.
because we're all on the wall.
Yeah.
And no,
So that was like one of my one big eye-openers. The number two, and he even says this, is that he goes, I can't communicate with people.
Yeah.
And it's obvious because
Oh, yeah.
that's, I mean, yeah, he's not a good communicator. You can tell
Right.
just through the talking. And also like one of the guy, what was his name? One of the newer guys that pissed off a lot. Was it Jordan something? And I wasn't familiar with his name at all. He was one of the more recent guys to come up, like right before Dave Hoff.
it wasn't the AJ, the red-haired.
No,
Irish
not him.
guy.
No, he was around that same time as him, though.
Oh, it was Big Poppy, Greg Panora,
Greg Panora, yes, yes.
follower of Massenomics. Greg
Is he
Panora.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
very cool.
yeah.
So, I already forgot my point with that. All right, I think I was
Just
talking about
like,
Louis
he follows
communicating, but
Massenomics.
he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, like you." He's like, Louis would try to tell people stuff, and they couldn't understand what he was saying, or he couldn't communicate with them, or it might have even been the guy with the red hair. And he's
Yeah.
like, and that's kind of where I came in as like the athlete coach, where I could help communicate this to people because he's hard to understand. But he does say, he's like, oh, I have a hard time communicating with people. And I think it's like, yeah, because you guys are always getting in fights. Like everyone there has a hard time communicating with people. And you can say that about a lot of gyms, powerlifting gyms probably specifically. A lot of people aren't there because they're the most social people in the world.
Right.
I don't think that's unusual. But again, I think it's taken to the extreme where you have a lot of these people that, for the most part, socially are probably a little dysfunctional.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys he's bailing out of jail, and there's just a lot of issues going on.
There seems to be like that persona is more common in equipped powerlifting than it is
It
in
seems like it.
raw.
It's- I mean,
like
we're-
that's at least the stigma or the.
It is.
Maybe it's not accurate, but that's certainly the view that people have, I think.
Yep. There is also in Westside, and to be a part of it, you have to be 100% on board with this, is that the only thing in life that matters is
Right.
Westside. And if you're not on board with that, you're just gone immediately. And a good case of someone that took that to the extreme, and at the end of the movie, you're kind of like, that seemed really selfish, sad, and like, where
Yeah.
did that get you? Is the guy, don't even know his name now.
I can't remember. Bob Coe.
Yeah, and he's like, he's been like the kind of the right hand man there for
Yeah.
20 some years or whatever.
Yeah.
And he said, I had sons that they swam in high school and I think college maybe even too, and I never saw them swim a single time in my life. And
Yeah.
he starts crying. It's like, yeah, because
And he said because swim meets were on Wednesday and Wednesday was Wednesday night. Swim meets were on Wednesday night and Wednesday night was bench night.
and I don't know.
Or so I don't know if I have the date.
I'm not a dad yet, but I would have a very hard time picturing myself 25 years in the future, and my kid being like, Dad, it would have meant a lot for me to see you swim, and I have to look him in the eye and been like, well, it was bench night, and like that would be a joke. Like you could, like I'm sure there's a meme of something like that somewhere,
right?
But this guy is dead serious, and like, man, that has to be one you have to look back with some regrets.
Yeah, I would say so for sure. I have a kid that's, starting to be in events and stuff like that, and I really like lifting and the gym and everything like that, but I don't really miss any of his stuff. Like if I just reorganize my schedule, but that's also
And you
like,
can't
that's also
reorganize
Westside.
schedules.
You
Yeah,
can't.
you're not
like,
allowed
it's
to
like
change the schedule.
You lift with the crew.
And that is also part of it, is that just the schedule and just sticking to everything. I
Yeah.
mean, there's so many things there that, with the schedule, to the point where it's like these guys push each other so hard that it's basically like you get hurt, and if you're not lifting the day you're back from being crippled,
Yeah.
that they're basically calling you a pussy. And
Like
you can't
the
help
day
but
you
think-
get out of the hospital.
And like some of the guys had the mentality that like, oh yeah, I had a scope done on my knee, and then the next day I went in and squatted my max, and I want to be like, well, that just sounds dumb. Like, that just seems like it's like people make fun of people on Instagram all the time for ego lifting. That
Right.
seems like ego
To the
lifting to the
max.
T. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so tough that just to prove a point of how tough I am, even though I just got done with the surgery, it's against all doctors' advice, probably any lifter's advice besides the 3 people that are egging me on. Like, I'm gonna go do a max
Yeah.
out. And
It's like taking this hardcore
and then
thing
it's like,
and like,
oh, and then I got hurt again. They talk about. It's like, well,
Yeah.
yeah, who wouldn't have seen
Yeah.
that coming? So you almost want to think like, for as good as their training and methodologies were, that they could have been better if they had just been smarter about things.
Well, and they even kind of said in the case of Flame Beanie,
Chuck
Chuck Vogel, that even Louis said about him that with his training they could never get him to almost like deload.
Yeah, he wouldn't back off.
Like
ever.
he would hit his biggest numbers in training because he would never back down
Yeah, I
to
think
recover
Louis
a little
say he
bit.
saw him do almost like a 1,300 squat
Right.
in training. He's like, I knew he had 1,400.
Yeah.
in him, but we just couldn't.
But
get
then
him
you go to the meet and do 1,200
yeah, we
because
just
he's
couldn't get him
yeah.
to back off. Or it's
Right.
like he did 1,200 with 260, or he did. It was like 1,200
Yeah.
with like 200 pounds of band tension.
Yeah.
He's like, but we couldn't get him to tone it, just to turn it off for the meet. And it's like, yeah, but that's the point of the sport,
Right,
like to
right.
show up on meet day.
Yeah, right.
And so there was just a lot of things like that. You just wanted to be like,
Yeah.
But also, that's what makes Westside Westside.
Right,
Is the
that's
fact that
kinda-
because if they were like,
it's-
oh, we're going to be really smart about it, well, then it's not Westside
Right.
anymore.
It's like there has to be the good and the bad, both of it. It can't you can't halfway be that hardcore.
And then
like it doesn't work that way.
there was a few times where guys split off from the gym.
Yeah.
And like one guy would get a crew, they'd leave Westside, they'd start their own thing, it'd look promising, and then he'd die.
Yeah.
And the whole thing would disappear. And it's just like it was cursed. Like
Yeah.
you could not, once you touched it, you were like, it just had its hooks in you for life, it seemed like.
Yeah.
And they talked about a lot of the guys that kind of showed up and disappeared really fast. I mean, they brought up Brandon Lilly, like
Yeah,
he
but he
made
was
it at
there
Westside
for-
like 10 months
yeah.
or something, and
Yeah.
that was it. And but now at the end, so this is Louis, through the whole thing, as the movie goes on, he drives this point home more and more and more, is that he's just, especially now that he can't compete, he's just looking for world records. He's looking for world records.
Yeah.
He's just looking for the next world record holder. And I can't help but think that when you watch it, my takeaway just seemed like, is Louis just incredibly selfish? Is that all it is? Because once you're done lifting, you're kind of dead to him.
Yeah.
Once you leave, you're done.
Yeah.
They're not just like calling each other
Yeah.
up and chatting. And he talks about like, oh, well, if you can't get me a world record, I don't care. I'll find the next guy that can.
Yeah.
And that's like the only driving force now is I want a guy that can give me a world record. And it seemed like, well, I don't know. That was my takeaway. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel like he really cares about any of these people.
What's the like if I was trying to be the devil's advocate, I don't know what I would say alternatively, like to go against that thought that like what would his other motivation be besides selfish
See, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like it did seem like you were watching this film of like this guy, kind of like this like troubled genius of,
yeah.
he has this body I think he even talks about it, like he's like in his mind he can do this stuff, but his
Yeah,
body
yeah.
just won't work with him.
And
so
you can tell it just absolutely kills him that he's unable to they talk
so what
about
is he,
that.
like 70 or
Yeah,
whatever? And
yeah.
he has in his mind, he's still in his 30s and he can still take on these weights, but his body is a 70-year-old body that says nope, not working. No, we got a guest here. But and so he's moved on to just be like, well, if my body can't, I'll get someone else's body that can. And
Right.
that is just, it just seems like he's living through these other people's bodies, but not in a way that most coaches are,
Not in a healthy
like,
way.
yeah, like my basketball coach, we worked on my shot. We all won as a team and it was great. It just seemed like no, I want that world record. And then after you break that, if you say you're no good, you're the
you're dead.
horse. We're taking you out
Yeah.
back and shooting you. They even bring that up. oh yeah, if I can't be breaking world records, I'm like a racehorse. Take me out back and shoot me.
Yeah, they say that exact thing.
So it's just this whole conflict of the whole thing, and I guess my takeaway is that's Westside for you.
Yeah. They talk. Dave Hoff, he comes into the picture later, and he's in the movie quite a bit. And wouldn't you really like to see Dave lift raw and to see like?
Yeah, it'd be cool to say, or it'd be cool to see. And
Yeah.
he says, "Oh yeah, I lift raw and training all the time."
Yeah, but he says, I don't train to squat the most I can raw. I train the most. I train to squat the most ever. Yeah.
Which it's another way of looking at it,
Right.
I guess.
But like just as a fan of the sport and curiosity, it's like, damn, wouldn't it be great to see what he does lift raw? Like it wouldn't, and it's like he doesn't post anything. He doesn't. There's no training videos out there, so you just never know. But
it seems like one of those things that for him it's a lose-lose.
yeah, it is a lose-lose.
Okay,
unless he's going to go break world records.
Yeah, unless you're
in
going to
raw.
put up like a 2,500 pound total. Even then, though, people are going to be like, well, okay, you're the strongest of all time, or you're the strongest of all time multiply, but then you go into this and you can't be in the top 10 or you can't be in the top 5.
Right.
So it's, unless you are going to be in the top 1, 2, or 3,
Yeah.
I think it's a lose-lose for you. And even maybe for some people, even if you're not going to be the best of all time, it's going to be like, that right there is why multiply sucks.
Yeah.
There's always going to be those people.
Yes.
But if he came in and did a 2,300 pound total, which is completely respectable and amazing in every sense of that,
Yeah.
I think that's a complete loss for him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
People would be all
like
over
I
about
wouldn't
that.
look at it that way, but I think like especially like the majority of people that are just halfway into power, that have maybe never even done a meet before, but they kind of follow powerlifting and stuff like that. They would be the ones to point that finger right away and be like, "Oh, you suck! I knew multiply was a joke."
And there's the whole argument of their whole methodology doesn't work. It doesn't carry over.
Doesn't carry
and
over
it's
to
just
raw.
a joke. And yeah,
I did like in the movie the talk about the bands and chains and stuff like that, about how those
that was cool too. They did a
implemented.
decent amount of.
Yeah.
That was actually to me one of the better parts is where they talk about Louis trying to study like these actual like school book like workbook style
textbooks,
like textbooks and then just how he was open to these ideas of bands, chains, like the invention of the reverse hyper, working with these other teams to like show them some of these ideas he came like that. To me was one of the better parts of the whole thing.
What they didn't talk about, and I'm sure it was probably somewhat intentionally, did they talk about like drug use at all?
Not one bit.
Was there ever I'm just thinking about it now, did they ever even like say the word
I think
steroids?
someone might have even said like, oh yeah, you got a bunch of guys on stuff in a room, like so it might have just been really quick in passing, but outside of that it just has to be like assume that if you're watching this you just get that part of it.
I suppose that he wasn't setting out to make a movie about, that's been made with Bigger, Stronger, Faster and stuff like that, so I suppose he didn't even want to go down the rabbit hole of like,
and you'd watch the Joe Rogan interview with there's so much stuff out there with Louis'
like you said,
opinions
you have to be, if you're watching it, hopefully you're aware enough to understand that yes, these guys are all on a large amount of steroids.
Everything.
Yes.
Especially like I would assume in those earlier days, like it's just like, oh, you got it, we'll take it.
I'm curious how much Louis himself was like the coach on that end of it. Like if he is the one that like
you would assume that's
said,
a big
this
part
is
of
what
it.
you take, this is how much, this is the dosage, this is.
And that's the other one that I was always very curious when he's like, so and so came to me when they were 15 years old, and I'm just thinking, okay, they definitely got on steroids at some point.
Yeah.
But what point was that? Was it at 15, 16? Like, did they wait until they were 20? When did that actually happen?
I'd be curious to know more.
That's probably the side that people really want to be like,
Right.
how is this going?
Right.
I don't think that movie will ever get made, though.
No, I don't think so either.
But, what's your review, Tanner? 5 stars?
Oh.
1 star?
Out of 5, are we gonna do?
We'll do
how many
5.
stars?
We'll do
out
5
of 5?
stars. Yeah.
I am going to say that I'll give it a.
In the world of fitness lifting documentaries, you don't have to compare it to like the Avengers movie or anything, Tanner.
Right. In the world of fitness lifting documentary, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 star. I guess is where I'll land on that, and yeah, that's my short of it.
That's where I was going to go
yeah.
to. Where I could have got to a 5, probably if I was more of a geared powerlifting guy.
Right.
It didn't. The thing, and it wasn't really filmed this way, but like when you watch some of those other, like the Eddie Hall strongman one, it's like you're watching, and you're like, I want to go lift. Like,
Yeah,
I got to go
yeah.
do something.
Right.
I never got
don't get that,
I never
no.
got that feeling out of this
No.
one. And
To me, it was just so much more about the relationships of the different people. Than it was more about, to me, it was more about the relationships of the people at Westside than it was about geared powerlifting, than it was about about powerlifting. Like, it was about these personalities and how they, how
Don't
Louis
work
at the
together.
how Louis at the center of it, and it's just like all these people that are borderline nuts, like getting into these.
How many almost crazy people can you put together in a room and then pit them all against each other?
Yeah.
They're teammates, but they also want to see each other
Yeah.
like fail, get hurt, die, and lose.
I like the people that the morning crew versus the evening crew.
Yeah.
How they're at the same gym and they hate each other.
Yes,
like
that was the other
It's not
part.
like a friendly competition. It's like they would like get in it'd be like a fist fight if they run into each
And
other.
that is, I'm curious how much of that was just that's what they made the documentary look like versus that's how it was, because my impression was almost no one there got along. Like, everyone was like, oh yeah, I'd see so-and-so's truck in the parking lot and I'd just say, fuck it, and turn around and leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, you live
Like
for
Chuck-
this,
he
but
was
also
saying
you
that-
hate.
He was saying that about Chuck Vogelpohl. I
Yeah,
think
I
he'd see
saw his
Chuck
car
and
there
he's
and I
like-
just say, nope,
he's
not
like,
doing
"No."
this. And I'd leave. And it just, everyone hated each other there.
Yeah.
So,
It's really hard for us to put that in like a realistic perspective, I think, because we
I think it's hard for anyone to put it in
yeah,
realistic
right,
perspective.
right. That's
Like,
true.
who goes to their gym as an adult and gets bullied? Who has to worry about bullying at their gym? You know,
A lot of the people I'm always go back to, like, what are these people's day jobs? Like,
I don't think any of them really had one.
That don't you get the feeling like do
Yeah.
any like they probably all had to do something to make some money.
Well, yeah,
but
it had to be
I
like
feel
the bear.
none of them, their career was a priority at the time of
No,
their
not
training
at
at
all.
Westside, right?
N-
That's just my assumption.
I don't know how
could
it
be
could
wrong,
be.
but that's my assumption.
I don't know how it could be unless you've climbed the corporate ladder far enough that they're like, you know what, you're a salary guy, just get your thing done. I don't think that was the case with these guys, though.
I do like them talking about like what in their heyday when their crew would show up at a meet that everyone's like, oh shit, you know, like
Oh god, these
yeah.
guys are here. Well, there goes our chances.
right.
And also like, oh god, these guys are here.
Like, damn it, they're all pricks.
It's an interesting examination of the human spirit in a most extreme direction
Yeah.
that it will probably never ever exist in.
And that's one of the things I talked to Michael about. He said this is really a niche look at a niche sport and stuff, but he said that's what documentaries are.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't make
need
a documentary
about
about
a guy going to work 8 to 5.
right, or you're not going to do a documentary about powerlifting.
It's just
Like, it doesn't really.
so
It's
broad.
too broad. It doesn't make any sense. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be entertaining. At
You can
that
make
level.
a documentary about strongman because there's really only
Right.
7 guys that sport's relevant
Right.
to.
So you pick the big 3 ones, and that's kind of the documentary. Then those guys, but yeah, it's that was interesting. I asked him if he's going to be doing any more powerlifting projects because I don't think it's assumed that he was going to. And he said, yes, he's working on a couple different things. One being a documentary, and one being some other sort of project that he didn't elaborate on. But he said, yes, he's is going to continue to work in the.
I like that.
And so this was came out yesterday, I think, like the 7th. We're sitting on the 8th now as we're recording. So it just came out. I was curious how I didn't know if he has exact analytics yet and everything, but if he had a feel for how it's going, and I think it's going very well so far in the early stages. And I asked if that was his expectation or if it's like exceeding what his expectation was. He said, well, that changed a lot throughout the process.
I would assume.
Yeah. That he said at the beginning, I was really optimistic and thought we really had something, and I was pretty sure it was going to do well. And as things went completely haywire and everything, he started to second guess how well it would ever do.
Well, and you start to wonder, is it ever going to even happen?
Right, exactly.
He
And
had to have that conversation with himself.
Yes, and then
every
towards
day.
the end here, he started to be like, okay, I think as things are back on track, I think he started to believe that it was going to do well. He sent me a screenshot of Amazon where it was towards the top of the list of like movies. I think
That's
in, like
really
the
cool.
bestseller list.
Yeah, and I'm all for more things like this existing.
Yeah.
They're fun to watch. The sport doesn't get outside of a live stream meet or an Instagram video. The sport doesn't have a lot of videos around it.
Right. No, I think I'm glad he's doing it, and I'd be really curious to see what he does next, and hopefully it doesn't take as long throughout the whole, because I want it.
That
like
would
to
be
see
the
it.
biggest one.
Yeah.
If hopefully some evil people don't get involved in the production process.
Yeah.
And
I heard he's working on something with the Massenomics team. I don't know all the details yet, but
how to sell a pair of shorts, maybe.
Ah,
Documentary.
full documentary on it. Yeah, that's where I think you can buy it in a lot of places. I know Amazon for sure. I think you can buy like a DVD or the digital download.
Yeah, there's a lot. Just type it in,
iTunes,
Westside VS the World. Like, you're gonna find it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I would recommend people watch it, and it's a cool look
Yeah.
inside a place that not a lot of people have seen the inside of.
Yes. It's good stuff.
So, since we've talked about Westside, squats, calls, there was kind of a hot topic this week, and because
like the
it's
clothing store.
just like the clothing store, it was a lot of black T-shirts, odd choices in eye makeup. Because it's powerlifting, this discussion is bound to come up at least 4 times a year. We're getting close to halfway through the year. It's came up a few times, I think, already. But this is probably going to be the front runner for, I think, the major calls.
Yep.
And I think what sparked this whole thing is there was a guy, Matt Mitchell.
Yeah. Do you say that Cyan?
Saiyan.
Okay, Super_Saiyan.
You weren't a big Dragon Ball Z fan
No,
as a kid,
no.
Tanner. God, get with
I've done a
it.
Massenomics versus about it, but that's probably the most homework. I had to do quite a bit of Wikipedia reading on Dragon Ball Z.
I was obsessed with
Okay,
Dragon Ball
yeah.
Z, and then I got to the point where it would be on right after school. I'd
Yeah.
run home to watch Dragon Ball Z because that's the only thing that matters is Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
And then when you get old enough that you have to go to sports after school, and DVRs don't exist because we're far back in time that the technology wasn't there, that meant that I just couldn't watch it after a while. So my extent of it goes up to about the Cell saga for the real DBZ fans out there.
Okay.
I've seen almost nothing from the Boo saga on, so I got the first about half of the series, but DBZ, great stuff.
I had like an averse opinion of anime that like whenever it would be on the television, I'd be like, go away. Like I never watched more than 20 seconds of anything to even give it a
kid,
chance.
I loved that shit.
Yeah.
It's like, anime? Don't care what it is. I'm watching it. I just loved it. Couldn't get enough of it. But anyways, Matt Mitchell,
Super_Saiyan _Bulldog.
he had a meet, SPF meet,
Yep.
and he broke, did you get an all-time world record, like total record, or was it a squat record?
The squat record for sure.
And
At 900, it was the 242 squat record, 925 pounds.
And it's high. Like there's no way around this. It's high.
That's number 2 all-time squat.
Okay, number 2.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's high.
Number
like
1 in
you can
America.
pause the video. It's
Oh, I'm watching it right now. It's certainly high.
You can't make the argument that it's not high.
No,
Now,
I don't think so.
Now, do I say, screw you, Matt Mitchell, you're the worst guy ever, you suck so bad? No. And why do I say that? Because he doesn't call his depth.
Right.
That's not his job to call depth. This is the SPF's fault because
Yep.
it is their job as a ref to call depth correctly. And I don't care who you are. If you read the definition, even if the definition is the kneecap has to be, or your thigh has to be parallel to the ground, even just be generous with it. It's nowhere near there. It's not near there. And to me, the dumbest argument that I'm starting to see a lot of people say is, well, until you can squat 900, you don't know what it's like.
That's
That's like
make
saying
sense. The judge, that's not a requirement to be a judge.
No, it's not. It's not a requirement at all to be a judge. And so people are like, oh yeah, well,
It's like, why don't you put 925 on your back and see what happens to you? It's like, I'll die. That's not the point. How is that
in what
related?
sport? In what sport is that the reffing criteria?
Yeah.
Is that until you can perform at the pro level that you can call it?
Right.
It's not how it works anywhere.
No.
So the rule is your leg has to be at the certain spot. That'd be like saying, all right, the guy shot a 3-pointer, but his foot was about a foot over the line. We're just gonna give it to him.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. We can all see it. It doesn't fall in the rules. it doesn't matter if I can shoot a 3 at an NBA distance or not. I can read the rules, interpret them, and then interpolate that onto what's happening.
I get pretty sick of that, actually.
It's just this dumb, elitist attitude that, because I'm strong, I now have a better understanding of rules.
Right.
I've never been in a powerlifting gym where they're like, all right, before you get strong, you have to understand the rules.
Right.
Like that's not a rule anywhere.
Right.
That doesn't exist. So that's just like a gatekeeping thing of, I'm looking out for my own and I'm better and I'm more elite than you.
Well,
and it's like a low logic argument.
Like in the NFL, you could be a supremely talented individual. You could be the best wide receiver in the NFL, but you could be pretty clueless on the rules.
I don't think you'd actually be good to have you be reffing the rules.
Right.
I think I'd want someone that, a lot of the NFL refs, their daytime jobs are attorneys.
Yep.
I think I'd want someone that has these really critical, like objective looking thing, like these skills for looking at stuff.
Right.
Not someone that's just like, oh, they played at a high level, so obviously they know how to ref. That's just not how any sport works. So that's what's so frustrating about this is the squat's high. People are getting really pissed about it and pissed at this guy. And, the lifters might not make a good case for themselves when they start to get combative.
Yeah.
One, at the lifter, and then two, when the lifter starts to, like, fight back with people. It's like, well, okay, it is what it is, I guess, at this point, and this is how the SPF does it. I think the bigger thing is you got to look at, like, how are we getting to these places? And it's because, well, the criteria to start a federation is you start a federation. That's the criteria.
Yeah.
And that's also why powerlifting will always kind of be a joke as a sport because there is no main governing body. Everyone complains about everything to everyone.
Yep.
Like, for example, I don't like a stiff bar. Oh, well, let's make a deadlift bar so it's easier. Mm-hmm. I don't like walking out squats. Oh, we'll do that. Oh, I'm too weak after cutting weight for 2 hours. Oh, well, we'll give you 24 hours to cut weight. It's just like people don't like the rules, so they make a federation that plays to the rules they like.
Yep.
And it's so fragmented and fractured that it's just you can't take it that seriously.
Yeah.
I can respect strength, but I also can't take it that seriously as a sport because of this.
It is obvious that this guy is still strong. Like,
no doubt. Like
it's...
he's stronger than I will ever be.
Right.
He's stronger than almost anyone you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
But if the sport is powerlifting, and to be a sport, you have to have rules. And if we're not adhering to these rules, is it a sport?
Right. No.
It's like football, you have 4 downs unless there's a penalty, and then that changes, but that's part of the rules. In powerlifting, you have 3 lifts, and they have to be done to the spec of the rule book. And when we say, the rule book, we're just going to kind of leave it up to whoever is in charge that day, it just makes the whole sport look dumb.
And I think you only really covered the squat.
Well,
the reality was all of his lifts didn't look good.
Yeah.
His bench, I'm watching it now and repeat, and that is not a like it travels up and down for one thing. Mm-hmm. It travels down and back up. It's in a questionable way, but it does not look like it's locked out.
No, it doesn't. Like not at all. And then the deadlift, it just seemed like the judges were like, well, he's held it close to lockout for a while, so we'll give it to him.
Yeah.
That just really is how it looks.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not blaming Matt Mitchell at all. This isn't his fault. He doesn't call it. It's the judge's fault. And it's the federation's fault that they run a federation that allows, 1, their judges to be this bad, and then 2, them to make calls out like this and then let it stand too.
The judges, like, when they're told how to go about business, like, they almost have to be told, like, basically you pass it. I
want to know, like, did anyone get red lights that day? Like, what? Because if they were giving out red lights, who were they giving them out to? And if they were, was it because they weren't going for a world record total?
Is there just preference towards the guys that are doing this?
Yeah, like does a federation just like to say, well, we've had 10 guys break the world record in our federation this year, so we're the superior federation. I would hate to think that's how it's working, but you never know.
To me, it's almost more of a red flag if that's the case. It's like, what we've talked about it with the WRPF with the plates is like, is it cause or effect that like so many of the deadlift records are getting broken that,
Mm-hmm.
But
it just kind of feels like it's muddy in the water. And then you look at like so what are like the ramifications? Like what's the greater, like what are the consequences, or what does this mean for the bigger picture? Well, it means that someone else got edged out of the number 2 squad of all time.
Yep.
Someone that was in the top 5 is no longer in the top 5 anymore.
Yep.
So someone is out that you would assume, or you want to assume, did it to a correct call. now guys that also did squats to about that length or to about that height that didn't get them past aren't on there, but this guy is. So that's
Yeah.
another one. And then you get things like open powerlifting that their job is to strictly just document the results. Like they're not the judges. Their
People
job
have
is,
been bringing up that they should remove the lift
Yep.
from the database.
But that's not what open
No.
powerlifting isn't. We are the internet's judges. No. They are the.
They don't want
They
that.
are trying to do whatever they can to document the results.
Yeah.
And so now, okay, well, do we just get an angry mob together every time there's a result we don't like? Is that where we're getting to?
Yeah.
And we just say, open power, you got to take, like, you can see how that system would just fall apart so
Yeah.
fast.
Right.
So it puts them in a tough spot too, though, because people think, you guys suck. You're counting world records. That shouldn't be world records.
Yeah.
But no, look back.
The federation
It
is
goes
yeah.
back. This all goes back. It's really easy. Like, it's easy to point the finger at this guy's Instagram account, Open Powerlifting's Instagram account, Open Powerlifting's website. This guy. It's easy to point your fingers at those things. It's a lot harder to point your finger at the federation, because
Right.
most people say, well, most people don't even know what federation it was. Okay, now we know it's the SPF. Well, who do we talk to about the SPF? I don't know. And it ends there, because that's how much people really care.
Yeah.
But that is the real problem here,
Yep.
in my opinion.
Yep.
So I guess, should lifters overrule favorable calls? I don't know. Is that even?
Yeah, so it's not Matt Mitchell's fault, but should Matt Mitchell say, all right, you guys are all right. It was horse shit.
Even if he said,
I want mine.
Even if he said that though, do they turn it off? Though?
Right,
Like, do they retroactively say they're no good?
Right. Yeah.
Can
I don't
you
know.
do that? Is that
Yeah.
a thing?
I don't. Yeah.
I don't know. And how? Because it doesn't change the fact that in the meet, the federation said it was a good lift. So why is some guy coming in later and saying, it's okay, I'm not going to count it?
Yeah.
Well, according to the federation, it was good.
So Matt, you mentioned Matt is going to compete in the tribute meet.
I believe he. I thought I
think
saw
I saw
based in the flurry of Instagram comments
Yeah.
that he got an invite to the tribute meet.
Yep.
And
Maybe he could win
if
some of
that's
that
the
money
case,
that we're gonna put
if
up.
that's the case, then he's got a really great
Yeah.
chance to prove himself.
He posted it and said, "See you there."
So yeah, he's got an awesome chance to prove himself and be like, okay, yep, that was all the fluke deal. Like, they called things lax. I played it lax, which you could say maybe that's just being a competitor.
Yep.
And now if they're gonna go somewhere where they're gonna call it a little tighter, he'll play it tighter and be like, see guys, I had it all the time, and then this whole thing kind of feels like it didn't matter.
Yep.
To some people, it wouldn't matter. It still doesn't take care of the underlying problem, but.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Lifters overruling favorable call, like lifters being like, don't count it. That seems really,
Yeah.
really dumb to me.
Yeah, it
Because now,
does.
what was the point of judges?
Yeah.
Again, it all falls back to the judges and the federation.
Yep.
So now that we've solved that for the world, Tanner, I guess we can just quit the podcast. It's all
That's
done.
it. That was the last thing on our list of the podcast.
But we are like an hour in, though.
Oh.
So we are
So
getting down there on time.
So we do have a quick podcast review that I know we got time for that. We could go through that quick because there's just one here. It was a 5 out of 5 star review, and that's just the kind of podcast review that we like.
We do.
The name of the review title is just a $, and this is from Tater. And Tater, 5 out of 5 stars, said, "The shorts may be as expensive as the Declaration of Independence, but the podcast is free, so we're winning at that aspect. Solid content and greatest podcast out there to hear about nothing while drinking a crispy boy."
Wow, Tater.
Yeah, good, very good review.
You get it, and
Yeah.
I approve.
We
I
approve
approve
that
that
review.
review. That's a good one.
Keep the podcast reviews coming. We need to spike that number.
Because it matters.
Because
it does.
Yes, because we said so. So what else do we do or do not have time for?
We don't really have time for much else. We're at an hour pretty much
Okay.
right now.
Well, do we have time for overrated, underrated?
We probably could. We
Okay.
could probably do that.
Okay. I really
And
hate
just to
miss
keep you guys
Yeah.
in the loop here, we did have some exciting new segments planned this
Yeah.
week, but we did not anticipate talking about Westside and high squats nearly this long.
For that
so
long.
I guess they'll have to wait until next week. But we do have some
We do.
exciting stuff coming.
a revamp to a segment. Would you
Yeah.
say or?
Segment 2.0.
Yes. We also had a pretty good big lift sort of thing this week, but we can save that for next week too. We'll save that in there. But we will get to the underrated or overrated, of course. I'm going to be brief on the rules again this week. I know it's a little unorthodox to do that 2 weeks in a row, but
we'll probably hit them with a good.
Next week we really have to. Yes, next week we really have to get on depth in the rules because it's just getting ridiculous to let it slide like this.
Too lax.
Yeah, it's not like us at all. It's completely out of character. But the rules are: I asked Tommy a series of topics here, and he decides if they're overrated or underrated. He gets his druthers to answer as long or as short as he would like. But at the end, it is important he does have to come up with a final answer of actually underrated or overrated to each individual topic. That's the gist of it. So topic 1, underrated or overrated, space travel / exploration.
I think it's pretty cool. You could make an argument about, all of this money we're dumping into it and what's it all for. I would also make that argument about the defense budget and however many billions it is for our global conquest. But the space travel, it's cool. I think you could say it's brought us a lot of inventions, or even just research and technology, and it's taught us a lot about things. And, if human beings aren't like learning more and looking for the next thing, like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't know. That's like my opinion on these things.
They are your druthers.
They are my druthers. Now they're talking about this whole thing of like going to Mars and all this stuff. Do I ever want to do that? No, I don't want anything to do with that. I don't want to go on a spaceship. If someone's like, "Oh, you could go to space," I think I'd be like, "Nah, I'm good.
I'll stick
with the plane planet."
I've seen so many of the movies where what's the one with like George Clooney and the mom from Blindside?
Oh yeah,
like stuck out there and it's quiet and terrible. And
I think Christopher Nolan one. I think it was. I cannot think what the hell that was. But
everyone listening right now is shouting out loud.
Gravity? Was it Gravity?
Yeah, it's Gravity.
Yeah,
Gravity.
And that was a good movie. I love watching movies about it. I love that stuff. It's super cool. I have no desire to go there, but I'm totally cool with space travel and exploration.
Yeah.
Keep it coming.
So what are you saying?
Underrated.
Okay.
Keep it going.
Underrated or overrated? Wrist watches.
If you would have asked me, I'm really torn on this one because if you would have asked me a few months ago, I would have said wristwatches, so overrated. You have a phone. You can look at your phone for everything. Like, your phone does a phone. It's amazing. It's amazing. Like, that's how I would have felt. But I've had this year a bit of a change of pace on phones because my main driver was, if you have a newer iPhone and you look at the screen time thing, the screen time in the app where it says how much time you're spending on the phone, how many times you pick up your phone, how many notifications you get a day, you start to realize that this phone isn't like a thing in your life. Like, it is almost your life. And I have at least the ability to maybe step back a little bit and look at this thing. A lot of people don't have that at all. And when I started seeing, like, you're spending 3 hours a day on your phone, you're getting this many notifications, this many interruptions, and if you just assume, like, there's research out there that says every time you get an interruption in a day, it takes you 10 minutes to get fully back on task. And if you work for yourself, where your actual income depends on you doing your job correctly, not just showing up to work, like, you realize, like, wow, that's very important for me to get this in line. And so I really started to cut back on my phone, like turning off almost all notifications, like being very conscious of how much time I'm spending. And part of that, and it briefly crossed my mind, I had a little debate with myself of, if I had a wristwatch, it really cuts out my need to have my phone on me in a day. And I've debated it, but I just hate the idea of having more stuff on than I need to. Like like wearing a wedding ring. Still, like, wow, that's a lot of stuff on me all of a sudden. So I'm still going to say a wristwatch is overrated, but just barely.
I do wear a wristwatch to work every day,
and it does dress you up.
Yeah,
it's weird how this little mechanical device on your wrist means fancy.
I'm a fan of Skagen. I think is a Danish brand. They're
sounds very high class.
Well, they're very minimalist.
Minimalist is always good.
And I do very low profile, very simple.
Yep, minimalist is always cool.
And it's got that Danish engineering, world famous Danish engineering.
It's like IKEA, right?
Yeah. Okay, last topic here today. Underrated or overrated? MTV.
You making me think here, Tanner. And when I say think, my immediate reaction is overrated. I'm trying to think if I can come up with any reason for it to not be overrated. And I'm trying really hard to think. While I do believe they have had their merits through time, at this point, they are really nothing more than a reality TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And
reality station, TV station, yeah.
And if you were to ask me, like, what are problems in the world, I would say one of them is people not having meaningful conversations about anything nowadays.
Yeah.
And I believe that ties to the fact that most people watch the most mindless shit ever, and they develop no, like, critical thinking skills.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, oh, yeah, that was cool. Well, because you just watch people do dumb shit all day, so now anything seems cool. So, I think MTV, they're just, I don't know. Are they doing anything besides just pumping out?
I really don't know. I don't have cable, I don't have television like that, so I don't even, like, their viewership has to, in the last 10 years, has to have plummeted.
I don't know if it has, though, because people love reality TV.
Yeah,
so
I
don't,
like...
They've definitely.
What are their? I mean, is it Real World and Road Rules?
They still do have some of that. They still have, like, their Teen Mom shows.
Yeah, Teen Mom. Okay.
See, I don't. And I have Hulu,
what about,
so
like,
I don't even
get
MTV.
Date one where they're, like, on the bus. They come out the bus.
Oh, no, those are like early 2000s, and I remember watching those as a kid and being like, "Oh, this is fun because people are so crazy." Like, even as a kid, I think most kids could probably realize, like, yeah, these people are insane.
Yeah.
Room raiders and all that dumb stuff. God.
MTV Cribs.
Yeah, MTV Cribs is pretty cool.
A lot of those people, like, got in trouble. Like, it wasn't their house.
Oh, really?
It was, like, a friend's house.
And
or,
they were just, like dressing it up. Yeah. That Pimp My Ride was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I actually did like.
Who is that? Who was the
Exhibit?
Yeah.
I actually I really did like Robin Big and Fantasy Factory.
Oh yeah.
Robin Big more. Like that was the original.
Ridiculousness is on now. Yeah.
And,
I like the original Robin Big. I like
Robin Big was just good because like who the hell are these guys? Like I was big into skateboarding when I was younger, so I knew who they were going into it. And like, oh yeah, they're like totally just having fun, doing crazy stuff. And Fantasy Factory took that to the extreme, like to the point where it almost seemed like, this started to seem kind of corporate, like it's almost too scripted. But Robin Big was cool.
Robin Big was I loved that show.
I think a lot of people did. Like that was great. And Jackass, you can't understate the impact that had in early 2000s.
Jersey Shore was very.
It had a huge impact. Jersey Shore sucked though. Like it's like, and that's just ridiculous. And that like falls into like where this stuff all gets so shitty. Where it's just I'm just watching people have arguments. I can't even feel good about myself. It like drains on my mental health to just watch people screaming and yelling and hating each other all day.
It's correct that they don't play music videos. Correct. I mean,
I don't even think they do like at night anymore. Like for a while, it used to be. This was probably years ago.
TRL was a very popular.
TRL was big too. Carson Daly.
Yeah.
He's like made kind of a run. He's hosts other shows now. The Voice or something.
Yeah, maybe, I think that's right. Yeah.
No, now that we've talked about it all, I think MTV's just been gutted and overplayed and way overrated.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. That does wrap us up for underrated, overrated. Very good segment. Fortunately, we couldn't get more segments to you this week, but great incentive for you to come back next week to catch up on some of these other segments that we haven't been able to bring you because we've had so much good information to get out every week.
Just too much to say.
Yeah, there's a lot. What else do we have?
Or we could just start podcasting twice a week, Tanner.
Oh, I've got plenty of time for that. That should be very easy to fit in our schedule.
Just think of all that extra sponsor money we'll make every week.
That's true. We could double. We would be effectively
income?
doubling what we're getting now.
Yeah. What's 2 times 0?
That's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of money. Subscribe on YouTube. Get on there to hit that first comment. Sorry, everyone. I did have a snafu this last week.
I did see a technical error.
Upload went out on Friday because I normally do not make. I have to get it uploading because it takes forever sometimes, and it's my responsibility to make it private until Sunday and then release it public.
That's how you do it.
But as I was uploading it there, I forgot to change that, so it has a setting of public. So as soon as it uploaded,
people were on there.
Yeah, and then I was like, "What's going on? What are all these notifications?" And then I was like, "Oh shit!" So then I tried to make it go back private, but apparently, if you get the notification already, you can still get to it because people were still commenting and stuff. And then I was like, "Well, I better just make it public." So
the genie's out of the bottle.
Yeah. So they got the podcast the watchers on YouTube got it like 3 days earlier. So there you go. Subscribe on YouTube. When I screw up, you could get the podcast 3 or 4 days earlier than the iTunes listeners. Like us on Facebook. Go to our website. We did just update our top 10 strength training podcasts blog post.
One of the
Check
perennial
that out.
favorites.
Yes, check that out. It's out there on the website. And then the merchandise, of course, we do. It's not going to be out yet. It's not going to be out by the time you hear this, or maybe even the week after that. But soon this month, we have possibly one of the apparel items that we have been the most excited about ever to get out.
Like I don't want to overhype it, but also I don't know if it's possible to overhype it. It's like, this is a really, really good looking shirt, and it's different for us.
We do usually say things like this to just be bullshitting and just make stuff up and that sort of thing, but this is true. This is going to be very cool.
You guys are going to be like, wow, they really did that, huh?
And we always say the thing like, if you like what we did in the past, you're definitely going to like this. This is a little different than that. This is not what we've done in the past. This is pretty
uncharted territory.
This is like the newest thing, most off the grid compared to our past history that's going to be coming out. It's going to be really cool.
It is.
We'll continue to hype that over the next couple of weeks.
Going to disappoint you guys with this one.
No.
So mystery product is.
We're just excited to get it out because we already know what it looks like and we can't share it yet. So that's kind of like eating away at me that I want to get it out there, but we can't.
Even the people that make our shirts are like, whoa, this is really cool.
Yeah.
And they've never said that about any of our shirts. They've actually never once
like beer.
They've never once said that about anything we make. Yeah. They make all of our stuff. Yeah. We've never got anything back like, oh, sweet. It's always been thanks. And this one they go, whoa, I really like this shirt.
Yeah.
So if that means anything.
It does to me. But for now, you can hop on there and buy all of your old favorites that we do have in stock right now. Most importantly, make sure to follow us on Instagram, and our handles are
@Tomahawk_D.
And you can follow the official Massenomics Instagram page @Massenomics. That wraps us up for episode 162. Stick around next week for 163.
See ya
later.
You just heard the Massenomics podcast. With your ears, you're welcome. Check us out on Facebook, find us on Instagram @Massenomics, and make sure you visit Massenomics.com and buy some of that sweet Massenomics gear. From your friends at Massenomics Studio, home of the world's strongest podcast, stay strong.